demonstration is the General Secretary of the National Education Union. Please give a warm welcome to Daniel Kabede.
Our children have returned to school today following their Christmas break, and what does the US President Donald Trump send to our children as a message? The playground bullies rule the roost, that the strong and powerful can break rules with impunity, that theft is acceptable if you're strong enough to get away with it, that threats of violence are acceptable and violence itself can be excused, that covering up your motives with lies and deceit is okay. The US attack on Venezuela, the seizure of oil tankers, the bombardment of civilian areas in Caracas, the abduction of President Maduro and his wife is nothing to do with drug trafficking. It is nothing to do with restoring democracy in Venezuela. Instead, it is a naked attempt to seize control of Venezuela's oil and to assert US dominance over Latin America and the wider Western Hemisphere. Trump has made it clear that he intends not only to keep the oil tankers illegally seized by the armed forces. The abduction of Maduro is a war crime. His actions are in breach of international law and they send a dangerous precedent. No country is safe. Now recently he received the FIFA Peace Prize. What an absolute joke! What an absolute joke! It absolutely does. Under his presidency, the USA has carried out military attacks against 7 countries in 2025. Against Syria, against Iraq, Iran, Nigeria, Yemen, Somalia, and of course, Venezuela. And it won't stop there. Trump has made it clear that he will strike again against Colombia, against Cuba, against Brazil, against Iran, against any country that fails to bow the knee to his administration. There have been condemnations from around the world for Trump's military assault, but not from the UK. Starmer has said that he is merely waiting to establish the facts, while the rest of the world has established the fact that Trump is a rogue president of a lawless US administration and that this is gangster capitalism at its worst. We need to send a different message to our children, that a rules-based order matters, that states must uphold international law, that no one, no matter how powerful, is above the law, that theft and violence is never acceptable, that war is not the way to resolve the disputes. So we need to build this movement, the movement against war and against Donald Trump. No to Trump. Viva, viva Venezuela!
Hands off! Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Viva, viva!
Venezuela!
Viva, viva!
Venezuela!
Our next speaker is Lindsay German from Stop the War. Please make some noise!
Thanks very much, and thanks everybody for being here tonight. This event by Donald Trump against Maduro and against the Venezuelan people was a criminal coup carried out by a gangster who can learn everything from the barbarians that have come before him. And when you look at what has happened in Venezuela, this is a complete breach of any international law. It reminds me when they humiliatingly parade Maduro through the streets of New York, when they when they blindfold him and they cuff him and send out photos of that. It reminds me nothing more than the Roman emperors who used to parade their prisoners on the streets and cheer when the gladiators were killing each other. Trump is a barbarian and he's a war criminal, and we should have nothing to do with him. And while he is acting in the interests of the American ruling class, let's not forget the history of the US has been intervention in Latin America time and time and time again. My generation remember the coup in Chile, backed by the United States, where tens of thousands were killed and tortured and driven into exile. That is the reality of American power. And when he says he wants the Monroe Doctrine to be reinvented again, what he's saying is, this is our backyard and we can do what the hell we want anywhere in Latin America. And we're here tonight to say, no, it is not your backyard. The people of Latin America have the right to independence. They have the right to solidarity. They have the right not to be oppressed by their northern neighbours. So when we hear of attacks on Cuba, on Mexico, on Colombia, we have to say no. And what a scandal it is that Keir Starmer is frightened to say anything at all about this. Keir Starmer is the man who wants to find out more facts. What facts do you need to find out when we've seen on television a man handcuffed and taken on the American aircraft carrier Iwo Jima? When we see that happening, what more facts do we need when he's in court in New York? He's in prison in New York. We know the facts and we know what Trump has done. And the truth is that Starmer and the EU leaders are appeasing Trump. They don't like him, but they're frightened of him and they will do anything to keep him pacified. So American imperialism is rampant. And we've already heard since then saying that Trump wants to take Greenland, saying he wants to take Iran, pretending that he's in solidarity with people protesting there. Nothing of the sort. This is naked imperialism of the sort that is absolutely blatant, and we have to oppose it. And where is it going to stop? If he can just break in, and by the way has killed 32 Cuban nationals in the attack on Maduro in Venezuela, if he can do that brazenly, what else will he do? What other countries will he attack? And the truth is, there is no international standing up to Trump. Are the people around the world demonstrating, whether it's over Palestine and the genocide that Trump is supporting, whether it's over Venezuela, whatever the question is, whether it's over the rearmament here. We are the opposition. We cannot rely on the governments here. We cannot rely on them around the world. We have to rely on building a mass movement to stop Trump's war drive, to stop the armament here, to stop conscription in Europe, and to say the people of the world don't want war, they want peace. They don't want Trump intervening in their country. They want the right to determine their future for themselves. That's what we're fighting for. So please do everything you can to support what we're doing here with the different organisations. Please support Stop the War. We need to build an even bigger anti-war movement. We need a mass movement against the war. Nothing else will stop these people in their tracks. And we face a future, in my opinion, of socialism or barbarism. The barbarism really does not bear thinking about. So let's fight for a better world where everyone is equal and where Latin America and everywhere else in the world is free from American and every form of imperialism. Thank you very much.
Make some noise. Are we all still here?
Yeah.
I'm going to introduce our next speaker right away. I'm so pleased to introduce the man who stands with international solidarity movements when it matters. The General Secretary of the RMT is Eddie Dempsey.
I'm here to pass on the solidarity of my union to the working class of Venezuela. The RMT is an organisation that fights for the rights of working class people here in Britain, but we're also internationalists, and we're also socialists. So we send our solidarity to the Venezuelan people in light of the atrocious illegal attack by the United States of America. And it's worth saying that the entire premise of respect for independence and sovereignty is at stake. If the United States of America can just bomb and kidnap the leader of any country it chooses in order to steal their national wealth and steal their national resources, then what sort of message does that send to the rest of the world and the other great powers? That ignites violence right across the planet. And I've got to say, the response so far from our government has been shameful, has been pitiful. The United States of America threatens every leader of every Latin American country. If you don't like what we've done, or you don't follow our rules, you're next. They even threaten Greenland, and still, the Prime Minister and political class in this country cannot muster the courage to even stand up for international law. It's shameful. So we're here to say to our government, you must call out America for his crimes. You must stand up for international law and the sovereign independence of nations, because it's them today, it could be us tomorrow, and right now we're acting like a vassal state, too frightened to speak up in the face of gross violations of international law. So my trade union will be campaigning for as long as it takes as part of the anti-war movement to fight for a peaceful world. Solidarity, everyone.
Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Hands off! Hands off! Hands off! Stop bombing! Stop bombing! Stop bombing! Stop bombing! Stop bombing! Hands off! Hands off! Hands off! Our next speaker is representing a people who know the perils, the violence, the tragedy, the injustice of occupation all too well. Please give a warm welcome to John Finucane MP representing Sinn Féin.
Thank you, and thank you to every single one of you who've come out tonight to make sure that your voice is heard. As we know, this US assault on Venezuela and the detention of President Maduro and his wife is a sinister development that must be condemned outright. The track record of the United States interference in Latin America and attempts to force regime change has been a catastrophic development for this region for many years. This latest intervention risks yet further death, suffering and destruction. And it comes at a time when the illegal embargo against Cuba has intensified, and the American president is also threatening more unilateral military attacks in the Middle East and repeating threats against the sovereignty of Greenland. In the last 6 months alone, US warplanes have left the skies burning in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Nigeria and now Venezuela. Meanwhile, Israel continues to bleed Palestine. We cannot allow for the continuation of so-called forever wars. This isn't security, this isn't defence, it's domination and it's imperialism. As a party, we have been concerned for some time at reports of US military build-up in the Caribbean and the ratcheting up of hostile language from President Trump. Let's be clear, it is not for Western countries to force regime change or to try any foreign government out of office. Nothing can justify the attack that we have all witnessed. We note that the illegal removal of the Venezuelan president sits in stark contrast to the United States' defiance of the ICC arrest warrant for Israeli political leaders accused of genocidal crimes against the Palestinian people. This attack is quite clearly motivated by commodities. This is nakedly a power grab for control of Venezuelan oil, and no innocent blood should ever be spilt for the price of oil. This attack has serious and far-reaching repercussions for the primacy of the global rules-based order and the authority of the United Nations Charter. The Irish government must speak out on the highest level at the UN and the European Union, and international law must be defended and must be enforced. There is no alternative to respect for national sovereignty, the use of diplomacy and peaceful coexistence. World leaders must demand de-escalation and dialogue immediately. President Maduro must be released, and we must avoid a full-blown conflict erupting in this region, with all of the disastrous implications that this would have. We must collectively, with one voice, condemn this aggression. We must stand with the people of Venezuela. We must give voice to our solidarity. Hands off Venezuela.
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hey Trump, you're a liar! No war, no empire! Hey Trump, you're a liar! No war, no empire! Hey Trump, you're a liar!
No war, no empire!
Hey Trump, you're a liar!
No war, no empire!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime! Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Now, we were meant to have a number of MPs speaking, but right now they are in Parliament standing up to Keir Starmer and saying stop being silent on Venezuela, stop cowering behind Donald Trump. So make some noise because we need them to hear us. I'm going to introduce our next speaker. It's Louise Richards from the Nicaragua Solidarity Campaign. Please make some noise.
Hi, I hope you can hear me, everybody. I'm representing Nicaragua Solidarity Campaign Action Group. Nicaragua is one of those countries, again, that has suffered decades and decades of US aggression in attempts by the United States to overturn the Nicaraguan revolution and to subvert democracy in that country. We absolutely feel for Venezuela and with the Venezuelan people as they're suffering now from US aggression. We wholeheartedly condemn this brutal war of aggression against Venezuela and the kidnapping of President Maduro. We stand in solidarity with Venezuela and the Venezuelan people and their fight to defend their national sovereignty and their revolution. Daniel Ortega, Nicaragua's co-president, has stated that US aggression against Venezuela is aggression against the whole of Latin America. The Nicaraguan government demands respect for Venezuela's sovereignty and demands the immediate release of President Maduro. In their statement, they say that peace has been deeply wounded. We reiterate the importance of preserving the region as a zone of peace and development, and the aspiration of our peoples to build a fairer, more equitable world based on solidarity. They support the Delcy Rodriguez call for truth, justice and life. Trump has invoked the Monroe Doctrine once again, the desire to control the whole of Latin America. We will dominate the whole of the continent, he says, the whole of the hemisphere. We must stop them. We can't allow this to happen. No progressive country in Latin America is safe from Trump's complete madness. His statements about we will not allow Venezuela to do this, that or the other, and we will rule Venezuela. They are a sovereign country. He has no right to intervene in that country, has no right say to that country who their government can be. For decades, US imperialism has sought to break the spirit of the people of Venezuela, Nicaragua and Cuba in order to overthrow their democratically elected governments by whatever means necessary, including violence. But the US has underestimated their power to resist. The people of those countries have stood firm and have continued to build a better life for their people. They would rather pay with their lives than bow down to a life of slavery under US domination. Thank you.
No more coups, no more wars. Venezuela isn't yours. No more coups, no more wars.
Venezuela isn't yours.
No more coups, no more wars.
Venezuela isn't yours.
Stop bombing Venezuela.
Stop bombing Venezuela.
Stop bombing Venezuela.
Stop bombing Venezuela.
Okay, make some noise. We need them to hear us in this debate. Our next speaker is from the Cuba Solidarity Campaign, so make some noise for Kevin Courtney.
Thanks very much, and thank you for being here tonight. Donald Trump makes clear what US imperialism has previously tried to hide. He makes clear that it's an act of piracy to steal oil. He says that kidnapping isn't a bad word to use. He makes clear that these are acts of piracy and kidnapping, and Keir Starmer should react to them like acts of piracy and kidnapping. Keir Starmer should be condemning them, should be calling for votes at the UN, should be calling on people to act. You've probably seen that 32 Cubans died in the attack on Venezuela. There are about 3,000 Cubans currently serving in Venezuela, the vast majority of them as doctors, but these 32 brave Cubans were protecting Maduro from these attacks. They died, and we honour their bravery. We honour their sacrifice, as do the Cuban people. Cuba and Venezuela are sister countries. They support one another. Cuba relies on oil from Venezuela because the US blocks other countries trading with it. Cuba and Venezuela both face attacks, and I'm calling on you to rally to Venezuela and to rally to Cuba. But let's talk about our Prime Minister. Let's talk about Keir Starmer's commitment to international law and his cowardice. Let's be clear, if this is allowed to stand, it's not just Venezuela, it's Colombia, it's Cuba, it's Greenland. You don't fight bullies by giving way to them. Bullies love to see that sort of cowardice, and that's what our Prime Minister is demonstrating. But we have to be clear, there is potential to throw Trump back. Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, all speaking out. Pedro Sanchez with some words in Spain. Emily Thornberry speaking out. There is potential to undo Trump's attacks, to throw them back. Trump has a reputation for chickening out. If our Prime Minister were to make a stand, other European countries would make a stand. There is a chance to do this, and we have to do everything we can to put pressure on Keir Starmer. Hands off Venezuela, hands off Cuba, hands off the Middle East. Get Trump out of the White House. It's time for us to stand up. It's time for Keir Starmer to stand up. This naked imperialism has to be thrown back. This piracy, this kidnapping must not be allowed to stand. Fight back, fight back. Solidarity with Venezuela.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trump out! When do we want it? Now!
Right now, they're having this debate in there at this very second. Let's make sure they hear us. Stop bombing Venezuela! Stop bombing Venezuela!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
us across the world. It's Claudia Tamadelo. Make some noise! Woo! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Viva, viva! Hayaya, brothers and sisters, my name is Claudia Tamadelo, Boliviana, Latina, migrante, and proud elected member of Hackney Council. I used to be a Labour councillor, but of course I left after I was suspended for supporting Palestine. It's a badge of honor. It is a badge of honor to tell Starmer we're not going to stand for his crimes. Now I have a message for Starmer and I have a message for Trump. We Latinos are not going to put out. We're never, ever, ever again going to be your colony. We're never again going to be your slaves. We're never again going to allow you to take our natural resources and kill our people. You've done it through coups. You've done it through interventions. You illegal bastards are trying to get our people and killing our indigenous people, killing our campesinos, killing our social movements. For what? For our oil. We know that this is not about your supposedly democracy or intervention for democracy. You want our oil, you want our gas, you want our lithium, and we're not going to allow that to happen, because the same as we did in the coup in Bolivia, where we mobilized and in about 10 months, in a record time, we recovered democracy. We're going to do the same for Venezuela. We're going to go on the streets. We are mobilized. We are organized. We are not going to let you take our oil. We're not going to let you make you slaves again. We're never going to be again your colony. And this is the last message for Starmer. Starmer, you know that my elections are coming up in May. We are waiting for you in the electoral ballot. We are absolutely waiting for you to show you what we're doing. We're doing it in Hackney and we do it all over the country. But this is your chance to reverse your support for the North America and for Trump's crimes. This is your opportunity to show yourself as the international lawyer that you claim to be and absolutely defend international human rights. This is your chance to say no to the illegal invasion of Venezuela and the kidnapping of the democratically elected president of a sovereign country, Venezuela. Hayaya Venezuela! Hayaya Latin America! We will never be your slaves! We will never be your colony! Hayaya! Viva! 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 We know what we're fighting for, not another endless war. We know what we're fighting for, not another endless war. We know what we're fighting for, not another endless war. We know what we're fighting for, not another endless war. Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime. Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime. Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime. Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime. 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 Make some noise. Our next speaker is here representing the Green Party. Make some noise for Zoe Garbutt.
This is absolutely incredible. I've been told that there's about 2,000 people here, so just want to give yourself a really big round of applause for coming out tonight and showing up. Thank you so much for showing your solidarity. I'm here to show Green Party solidarity on this US attack on Venezuela, and the abduction of its leader is a crime in international law. Trump, a man who claims to be ending wars, is escalating one in pursuit of oil and imperial control. The playbook is certainly familiar and deadly to global peace and justice. This action must be condemned by the UK. Starmer and his ministers have struggled to call it out and condemn it because they wait for their lines from the US. We've seen Spain, the only country in Europe with some semblance of a spine, standing up to the US. We must not be the US lackey. We must not cover behind the special relationship, and we must condemn this violent action and any further action threatened in Mexico, Cuba, Greenland and Colombia. Time and time again we've seen the war on drugs used as an excuse for territorial violence, used as a cover to extract resources from indigenous communities. This is not and never has been about drugs. For 50 years, we've seen a failed war on drugs that has led to more death, more exploitation, more criminalisation of marginalised folks, and a more toxic supply. And if Trump and others were serious about addressing the war on drugs, they'd listen to experts and health professionals and legalise and regulate all drugs globally, to regulate the use, trade and supply. We know that this is not about drugs, it's about the extraction of oil and imperialism, and we must condemn it or we are complicit. I stand in solidarity with Venezuelans at this time, worrying about the uncertainty and retain their hope for liberation and protection. And I stand for any citizen in other countries waiting to see if they are next, while the UK does nothing but waits to monitor the situation. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the organisers. Full solidarity from the Green Party.
Okay, today has been organised by the Venezuela Solidarity Campaign, and they need your support. So if you are not already a member, please tonight make sure you join the Venezuela Solidarity Campaign and be part of the fight back against our government's complicity. Now, we know that Latin Americans have been at the forefront of standing with Palestine against Israel in their crimes of genocide and apartheid. So our next speaker is here from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. It's the Deputy Director, Simon Foster.
Thank you to the Venezuela Solidarity Campaign for inviting me here to speak tonight. We come with solidarity from the Palestine movement because of our shared struggles against colonialism, imperialism, and for national sovereignty. Over the past 27 months, the Palestinian people have been facing their darkest hour. Death, destruction, displacement, starvation. All of the signs that clearly constitute, to all those willing to see, a genocide. In response to this genocide, millions have joined us on the streets of Britain, and many millions more have taken action across the world in the struggle for a free Palestine. Nowhere more so than our comrades in Venezuela, where tens of thousands have regularly taken to the streets in Caracas, and the government has supported the cases against Israel at the ICC and ICJ. Because internationalism has long been a feature of both the Palestinian and the Venezuelan struggles. Both nations know how it feels to be neighbour to an imperialist bully that has ambitions for your homeland. The late-night bombings, illegal invasions, cutting off of communication networks and kidnapping of political leaders that we saw over the weekend in Venezuela are all crimes that the Palestinian people know all too well. But both nations also know what it means to resist. Venezuelans and Palestinians are proud and principled peoples, willing to stand up tall against their oppressors and go to any length to defend their homelands. In Palestine they call it samud, which means steadfastness, perseverance. After 77 years of occupation, apartheid and genocide, the Palestinian people have never given up their samud. In Venezuela, inspired by the heroic struggles in Cuba and Chile, they proclaim, "Venceremos, we will overcome." Despite decades of imperialist aggression, economic terrorism and now invasion, the Venezuelan people have never given up in their struggle to overcome. Samud and venceremos, different words, different continents, but the same struggle. Sadly, what connects Palestine and Venezuela most of all at this horrific time is that both countries are facing down imperialist claims on their land, and a government in this country that, far from condemning these outrageous breaches of international law, instead continues to aid and abet them. It's unfortunately no surprise to us in the Palestine movement that the same Prime Minister who's continued to arm Israel's genocide in Gaza for the last 2 years will not condemn the bombing of a sovereign nation and the kidnapping of its president. By allowing international law to be breached so flagrantly by Israel for the last 2 years, Keir Starmer has opened the floodgates for more of these crimes to be inflicted on people from across the world who dare to challenge the aims of US empire. When the coward Keir Starmer finally found the words to comment on this outrageous attack, he said, "The UK has long supported a transition of power in Venezuela. We regard Maduro as an illegitimate president and we shed no tears about the end of his regime." So my question to you, to the thousands of you gathered here today and the many millions more of you supporting from home, I ask you this: do you support a transition of power in this country away from a cowardly Prime Minister willing to rip up international law in order to advance his career? And will you shed a single tear on the day in the not so distant future when his disastrous regime comes to an end? No! So does Keir Starmer speak for you? No! Then I urge you to continue campaigning, keep protesting, keep telling the war criminal hauled up in there what you really think about him. Support the Venezuelan people's struggle against the invaders. Support the struggle for a free Palestine from the river to the sea. Solidarity from the Palestine Solidarity Campaign.
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea,
Palestine will be free!
Now we know this struggle is an international one, so our next speaker has joined us from La France Insoumise. It's Lan from the main left French party.
Hello, how are we doing? My friends, we are gathered here because once again war is spreading, and once again we are told to stay silent. Today it is Venezuela. Tomorrow, who knows? A government overthrown, its people subdued, its country resource seized by force. The old empire returns, flying the same old flag of freedom to hide the same old lust for oil. The United States, under Trump, has invaded the sovereign nation of Venezuela, kidnapped its president and his wife, and called it a fight against narco-trafficking. What grotesque hypocrisy! We have seen this play before. Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya. Each time the result is the same: death, chaos, and the plunder of entire nations. Let's say it loud and clear so they understand. No! There is no such thing as good invasion. There is no such thing as a benevolent empire. An invasion is an invasion, always and everywhere. And yet, in Europe, our government remains silent, submissive, and their so-called foreign policies are written in Washington instead of in London, Paris, and Brussels. Shame on them! Shame! Their complicity, their cowardice, make them accomplices in the written of the law of the strongest. My friends, let us be clear about one thing. When the law of the jungle replaces international law, no one is safe. No one. Already in Ukraine, in Gaza, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the same logic is at work. One that justifies massacre in the name of security. How many more borders must burn before we say enough is enough? Let us remind ourselves this. There are 126 nations today with border conflicts, 55 of which are already at war. It means that if the world continues on this path, peace itself will become an exception, a mere moment between two invasions. This is why we must defend, tooth and nails, the ideas that stand between peace and barbarism. Those are the unconditional compliance with international law, the sovereignty of nations, the people's rights to decide for themselves, and the absolute non-alignment of our own countries in the face of US imperialism. This is why France Insoumise demands the immediate release of Nicolas Maduro and his wife, who are currently held hostages of an imperial power that pretends it can kidnap heads of states as if they were criminals. Furthermore, we demand that our governments here in Britain, but also in France and in Europe, have the courage to say it out loud. This aggression must stop. And let no one tell us that these are not our problems. Every time people are subjugated, it concerns all of humanity. No one is free until Venezuela is free. Every time a government falls under foreign boots, the international order itself cracks. Do not believe that peace will survive if we remain spectators. If you want peace, do not prepare for war. Prepare for peace. Stand up for law, for freedom, and for the dignity of all nations. Down with the empire, down with the war. Long live the people, long live peace, and long live the sovereignty of all nations. Thank you. Yes, sorry.
Okay, we're going to tell him exactly what we think again, and this time let's make it even louder. Stop bombing Venezuela!
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 No more coups, no more wars! Venezuela isn't yours! No more coups, no more wars!
Venezuela isn't yours!
No more coups, no more wars!
Venezuela isn't yours!
No more coups, no more wars!
Venezuela isn't yours!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Hands off!
Venezuela!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine? Occupation is a crime! Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Keir Starmer, where's your spine?
Occupation is a crime!
Donald Trump, you're a liar! No war, no empire! Donald Trump, you're a liar!
No war, no empire!
Donald Trump, you're a liar!
No war, no empire!
Donald Trump, you're a liar!
No war, no empire!
Stop bombing Venezuela!
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 Please welcome Fiona Sim from the Black Liberation Alliance.
London, let us remember that whilst we are here in the biting cold, our hearts are ablaze and we are burning with anger because we are a people of conscience. We know it is our duty to come out onto these streets, just like we have done for Palestine, just like we have done for all acts of injustice. The Black Liberation Alliance are proud to have been in Caracas, Venezuela, just a few short weeks ago. And so we are horrified by the events of the weekend, horrified that the friends and comrades we have met out there have been attacked by Donald Trump. We are even more horrified that the mainstream media are calling these attacks targeted strikes and platforming far-right opposition members to celebrate the freeing of Venezuela. But London, we know these are lies. We know these are lies because we have witnessed the truth firsthand and in the flesh. We have spoken to the dozens of young Venezuelans who are proud and passionate about their country. We have spoken to the fishermen under attack by the airstrikes in the Caribbean Sea. And we have spoken to the survivors of torture in the prisons of El Salvador, where Trump has sent innocent Venezuelans. The working class Venezuelans, the LGBT Venezuelans, the Afro-Indigenous Venezuelans, they stand with their country. They stand with Maduro, and they stand against all American aggression. From the barrios and the comunas to the streets and the conference halls, all the Venezuelans we met are proud to call Maduro their president. And we must remember the imperialist playbooks used to destroy Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and Gaza. remember the lies peddled by our own government and mainstream media like the BBC. And so London, we know the truth will prevail, because we know that the people united will never be defeated. And now for our friends in Venezuela, let's say in Spanish to repeat after me. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. 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 Thank you, London.
Alright guys, we're going to move on for a little bit because we heard, I'm here with Jack Hadfield, go and give him a follow if you don't already guys, but yeah, so while we were listening to the speeches, we heard some other chanting, we heard some other chanting, so we're going to see what's going on over here, because there's a few other stands and stuff, so it's a bit of a spread out protest. I just accidentally walked through an interview. Oh goodness me. I'm just trying. So what's going on over here? Oh, it's like a. It's not a separate thing because it's still about Venezuela. It is bloody freezing. Yeah, so there's a lot of people over here that aren't even paying attention to the speakers that's going on. Oh goodness me, well I'll just take a couple seconds to say hi to everyone. So hello everyone and Happy New Year. This is the first live stream in 2026. I'm freezing. So yeah, we are out in Downing Street today and there is a protest against Trump regarding the Venezuelan issue. I have mixed feelings about the situation because I mean while there are a lot of people in Venezuela who actually live in Venezuela who have seen this as a good thing and they're thanking Trump because they saw Maduro as a dictator, there is the question of like, well, okay, well what are the rules then? Because if we can, if Trump can do that, then why can't we just go over to France and do the same to Macron until he sorts out the boats issue? Do you know what I mean? So like I think that there are legalities that that we should be able to talk about and we should be able to discuss. But then at the same time, like, yeah, where is the line? If a country is feels like they're under a dictatorship and they feel oppressed and this person, like let's say Starmer, kind of like Starmer's doing, he is embedding himself in policy and he seems to think that he's going to be in power for the next 10 years. So I don't know what kind of thing he's got in his back pocket that it makes him think that's going to be possible. But let's say, hypothetically, he did manage to do that and he embedded himself in with policy and we had no legal route to get him out via elections, then at what point would we accept foreign intervention here? So I do think that it's an interesting talking point. Like I said, I have mixed feelings. I'd love to know what you guys think. But yeah, so sorry I didn't really do an intro because it was kind of like I started live streaming and people were already speaking. So, but yeah, well, Happy New Year everyone. I am freezing. I'm wearing thermals and everything, but I'm still bloody cold. But yeah, how you all doing? Oh, and make sure to obviously keep putting in the chat what you guys think of the situation. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, getting a few funny looks. So, but yeah.
So why America? No, I don't. So that's why we are against.
Have you? Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you were gonna like say something. You know when you can like put someone up in and like it kind of looks like they're about to initiate a conversation. So I didn't want to be rude.
No, I don't support this.
You don't?
No.
What do you think about it?
Well, I'm from Mexico.
Do you mind? Would you like to do an interview?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, brilliant.
El único venezolano aquí.
So,
El único, porque aquí no hay ningún venezolano.
¿Tú eres venezolano?
Claro.
¿Odias a Maduro?
¿Ah?
¿Odias a Maduro?
Obvio.
Obviamente, yo también.
Obvio.
Yo soy
Tengo cerebro.
Mira, yo soy mexicano.
Aquí hay un mexicano, mira, aquí hay un mexicano que ama a Maduro. Por eso ves con la bandera mexicana.
¿Y en dónde vive? Vive aquí en Reino Unido.
Claro, muerto de hambre.
Es la diferencia. Yo vivo en México, he sufrido las consecuencias del crimen organizado, de los gobiernos corruptos, de los gobiernos que apoyan organizaciones terroristas. Y definitivamente ustedes desde su privilegio en Europa creo que están completamente equivocados. No tienen una idea de lo que están hablando, no saben lo que es vivir en un país en donde hay 300,000 muertos en un sexenio. Okay, yeah, I can speak English. I don't support Maduro. I don't support the governments that are corrupt. I don't support the governments that participate in terrorist organizations like the Cartel de Sinaloa, like the Cartel de Jalisco. They are one of the most dangerous organizations in the whole world. They have killed thousands and thousands of people, including millions of people in Mexico, almost 1 million in the last 25 years. So you can talk about what's happening in Latin America or Mexico or Venezuela if you don't live there. You live in your privilege in the UK, in Europe, in Mexico. I live in Mexico. I know what's happening.
Now you are here.
Yeah, because I'm capitalist. I love capitalism. I like money, and that's why I'm visiting around the world, because I can. I love capitalism.
But you live in a capitalist country.
Yes.
You have the capital of capitalism.
Oh no, that doesn't mean we are supporting capitalism.
But you live here.
Yeah, you can live anywhere in this world.
yes. Would you choose to move to a socialist country?
No, we are going to build up socialism here.
But why? If this is if the
Why we are against capitalism?
if the majority of people in this country
you have
are
right
supportive of capitalism, hang on, can I have a question? Can I ask a question?
I'm asking question as well.
Alright.
If you can support capitalism as an economic method, why we can't support socialism? It's our right. It's your right.
Because I don't like capitalism, but I don't like socialism or communism.
Capitalism. So same.
Okay, you should go to lead to a socialist country if you don't like
This
capitalism.
is not the question about we like Maduro or not. We are against what Trump did to a democratic country. Trump does not have right to do that.
Just
If you are against them, okay, vote against him and send him away. It's Venezuelan people.
Okay, so if you want socialism, but the majority, let me ask my question. Okay, right. So if you want to live in a country that is socialist,
Sorry,
but
are you a Filipino?
yeah, I'm independent.
Okay, if you need to, this is different discussion. If you need why we are supporting socialism, give us appointment. We will come to discussion. Okay?
I have to make an appointment to ask you why you support socialism.
That's different discussion, long discussion. I can't answer now. It's a long discussion.
You should be able to answer. If you're supporting socialists, you should be able to answer. It's a very simple question.
If you want to
okay,
know
all
why
right.
I'm supporting socialism, arrange separate discussion.
No, I'm asking why you think that you have the right to submit that over a majority that want capitalism. Like why would you try and go against the majority of people that actually want capitalism instead of just going and living with more people that want socialism? You'd probably be happier if you really want socialism. And we just had like a masked individual come over and I'm assuming tell them not to talk to me. But this man, I don't know if the people accompanying him, I'm assuming they are, but this man says he's from Mexico and he's very much in favour of what Trump has done. So... People don't like answering questions.
Alright.
Alright, Bob, what do you think about all this?
Personally, slow time Macarena memes have been pretty good. I think American imperialism is based. I think that Venezuela has largely led afloat. The oil industry has been abandoned thanks to corrupt socialist policies. Despite the fact that it breaches international law, but it's just a convention. If no countries enforce it, it doesn't mean anything. So, there's a precedent within American history where America has actually gone and arrested leaders, illegitimate leaders, if you look at the Panama Canal, for example, and tried them in the US. So, legally speaking, domestically, the US aren't breaching any laws. Internationally, no one cares. However, what I would say is that we shouldn't bootlick the United States. I would say we should have a closer relationship to our European allies. However, as long as they're not doing it in the Middle East, which destabilizes it, some more migrants come here, and as long as it's corrupt regimes which have committed indictable offences, I don't really care. And none of these people do either. How many Venezuelan flags have you seen here? Everyone else is shoehorning their own country's issues into this discussion. So,
brilliant. Right. Thank you, Bob. So definitely some charged opinions this evening.
Tinder's got tweeted captions. He looks like a skinny version of Benjamin Young. Oh my god,
Hi guys, so I'm probably not going to be, this isn't going to be too much of a long one tonight, I don't think. A, because it's freezing, and B, there's a strange vibe. It's like, it's really bizarre. So it's actually, it's kind of more, it's more hostile than I thought. There's a lot of funny looks, a lot of people like, when you can tell that someone's about to say something to you. It seems that every time I kind of step towards someone, or I must show it on my face that I'm about to ask them a question, they just kind of put their signs in front of their faces and just turn the other way. So it's a bit of a weird one tonight, guys. And truth be told, I am bloody freezing. Look, I've even got thermals on that go over my thumbs and everything, and I'm still cold. What?
I'm literally freezing. I've got 3 layers on right now.
I know.
I need a gilet.
I'm so cold it hurts.
It's scar. My toes it's -1 right now.
Is it -1?
Literally below freezing.
Okay, yeah, my fingers are gonna fall off.
Emma done well out here.
My fingers are gonna fall off.
Yeah, Emma's out here in the freezing cold, literally getting you the content. So if you haven't subscribed, you're watching right now, you better do so.
Oh, thanks, Jack. Thanks for a little shameless plug. Thank you, guys.
And I'm Jack at Jack Had as well. Don't follow me too.
Yeah, go and follow Jack Hadfield, fabulous independent journalist. He always gets there on the. But in fact, I haven't seen you in ages. This has been the first time in a while since we've actually got together at a protest once again. But guys, I'm trying and get a few more. I'm not gonna lie, the chants are really annoying me. The speaker is really high pitched, and I was right next to it, and it didn't sound good. Actually, Jack, would you want to give us your take on the whole Trump and Maduro situation? What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been publicly quite pro it on Twitter, but that's because I'm relatively pro the Trump admin to begin with. I think I'm going to maybe write a piece on this, but if you compare it to the Iraq War in 2003, other previous sort of wars. Like, the problem with Iraq wasn't actually the invasion. The problem was what they were trying to do with it afterwards. Iraq was not a war for oil. What Iraq was a war for sort of control and pushing of democracy, being that, you know, literal woke nonsense as we've seen it now. That's why Iraq fell apart, because the US government forces came in. And then they're like, okay, what do we do now? Well, anyone who was a member of the Ba'ath Party isn't allowed anywhere near government. But basically everyone who did anything was a member of the Ba'ath Party. So you basically cut out everybody that was anywhere near competent. So therefore the government obviously was collapsed because they wouldn't have anyone in, and then those guys were annoyed, so they started ISIS. So the problem was the implementation of a regime totally based on, again, let's push gay marriage, let's push all this other stuff that obviously the people of Iraq didn't want. So that was completely unpopular. But if you look at the response here in Venezuela, so many Venezuelans are out in the streets supporting the actions of the Trump regime. They've arrested the president, they've taken him to court, and again, frankly, I think they're right. It's like, just because you're the president of a country doesn't mean that you can flee justice. Again, people here are saying, well, Netanyahu has been called up by the ICC. Well, it's exactly the same logic. So if they're fine with that, why would they not be fine with Maduro being charged with this? But yeah, I think what this does expose as well is that, frankly, which is a good thing, that basically international law is fake and not real. Everyone's like, oh, international law is like it is. For those if you study foreign policy or international relations, on the world stage it is anarchy, as in literally there is no government. This is obviously, if you study foreign policy from a realist perspective. So what has this just showed is that actually, you know, it's pure naked power and exposing the world to how it actually truly operates, rather than international law, which is, because of international law, you know, we've signed away the Chagos Islands, done other stupid stuff because of international law. Frankly, I think every country should pursue the foreign policy for its own best interest. You know, I think Britain should do exactly the same. You know, we were a nation of pirates. The Argentinians call us pirates. You know, we're perfidious Albion. You know, we should not be, you know, we should be doing what's best for Britain and what's best for the British people. And so America is doing what's best for the American people, which is taking out a hostile regime within its sphere of interest, which in foreign policy aims is exactly something that, frankly, it will be good for the American people. And they've done this, and it's like, it probably also will be good for the Venezuelan people. So overall, it's an overall positive. Now, if they get into, you know, mired, you know, backwards wars, and they start doing stuff that's, again, just woke and doesn't actually function, you know, the problem with all these previous regime change wars, there was no actual function to how they, to what they did after when they toppled the dictator. I think Trump's competent. I know there's people in the State Department who are very, very competent. So we'll wait and see. I could be proved wrong, but again, as long as somebody from Venezuela, probably the opposition, does take over, if there's a very slight transition period where the US does run it as Trump has suggested, and then they go back to basically the people who actually won in the elections under Maduro, if they become the president, and then you have a friendly country there. Also, as well, the people here haven't thought about the people of Guyana. Guyana, right next door, has basically just found a load of oil fields, and Maduro recently has been threatening to take away basically half of Guyana, which had the oil fields. So what are all these people here thinking about? Now all the people of Guyana can sleep safe in their beds tonight, because President Maduro isn't going to send his troops through the border and steal half of their country and their oil. And again, somebody else has said, I'm still going on, but there was a Venezuelan person that said, Trump wants us for oil. Yeah, but like, what do you think Russia and China wanted from us? Like, the recipe for Arepas? Obviously not. So all of these other countries, these people were supporting, third world, in other international regimes, they may just pretend to be having solidarity. But the other hyperpowers, what do you think the delegation in China was in Venezuela at the time? They want their oil. All of this is on the world stage. It's anarchy, and countries will do what's best for themselves. So frankly, I'm glad that it's exposed the reality of the situation.
Brilliant. So it's more like doing the quiet bit out loud. Although, do you think that there needs to be a discussion had about what kind of precedent this sets for the limitations of what a country or a powerful country can and cannot do? For example, I mean, as much as we would like to, there are limitations on us just going over to France, doing the same to Macron, and saying listen, you need to stop the boats, or we're going to do this. So what do you think this kind of sets precedent for in terms of limitations of international law, and like you said, how much it actually doesn't matter?
The thing is, it hasn't set a precedent. Again, as I was saying to Peter Tatchell there earlier, the reason why Xi Jinping does not invade Taiwan right now is because of US military force. That's the reason, not because of thinking of hello, not because of they think that the UN might not like us. No, it's because of the US military might they're not going against us, and because their economy is entwined with the rest of the Western world. So it's nothing to do with it might be illegal to invade Taiwan. That's not going through Xi Jinping's head. That's the thing. All these people on the left or whatever think that the leaders of these countries think that international law is real. Actually, the only person who thinks that actually is Keir Starmer, because he's a human rights lawyer and actually does think international law is real. But Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, they couldn't give two hoots about international law. This has not set any precedent. Frankly, if that precedent's been broken, since really the end of the Cold War, it's only because America can do this, because it's the hyperpower of the world right now. Nobody can oppose it, and it can basically do whatever it wants. It's just chosen to do that now. If America invaded Europe, what's everybody else going to do? I mean, seriously, what are they going to do? Britain's got nukes, but basically they're still not going to do it. But the only thing that stops that's stopping us from military invading, Calais right now, to stop the boats coming over, is our military power, and also the fact that America, who's a hyperpower, would stop us. That's exactly what happened in Suez when, 1956, I think it was, it's sometime around there, which brought down Anthony Eden's government, is that Britain and France tried to keep the Suez Canal from Egypt, and basically America said, if you do this, we're going to screw you. We're going to screw you completely economically, we're going to remove the Marshall Plan from you, all your support is going to go. And that's why Anthony Eden had to resign. That exposed the fact that America is the world hyperpower. At the time, obviously, two competing powers, the US and the USSR at the time. But that's the only reason, why Anthony Eden collapsed, because the US said, no, you can't do that. And that is the problem overall. Now, obviously, right now, I support the Trump admin. However, the problem is, obviously, in 2028, if a Republican loses, and if we want to do something, let's say reform comes in 2029, we want to do something here, we're going to get America telling us what we can and cannot do. As an overall precedent, this is bad. We should not be America. You should really not have one country as a hyperpower because of the restrictions. Right now, it's good for me because I'm aligned with the US government. But if I didn't like the US government, and let's say, they go mentally woke, whatever, years down the line, and we're now finally, based government over here, they're going to be able to tell us what we can and can't do. So it's nothing to do with, principle of the thing. It's a pure, I believe in my country first. Right now, America's the big boy, and we're friends, so that's good. But if they weren't friends, it's terrible. So really, this is just this entire thing shows that countries should have the force and to be able to back themselves on the world stage. This is a back for. Not necessarily imperialism yourself, but being a strong country, that you can resist something like this if it comes knocking on your door. Which right now, obviously, America dominates everybody, which it can be a good or bad thing, depending on how you side with ideologically.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks so much, Jack.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you. Keeping warm.
Yeah, I am.
I don't suppose you have a couple of minutes?
Okay, very quickly. I have to do her first.
Okay. No worries.
I'll just give you a brief thing.
Okay, yeah. That's okay. Sorry? So could you just briefly tell everyone who you are and why you're here today?
I'm Peter Tatchell, human rights campaigner. I'm here to oppose US military aggression against Venezuela. That was illegal under the UN Charter and international law. But let's not forget, Maduro was a tyrant. He stole the last election. He suppressed the human rights.
This is emboldening liberals. This is emboldening liberals. This is not radical.
Socialist.
All right, stick around and do an interview with me in a second then.
You guys need to interview Venezuelan people, young people.
Excuse me. That lady just came up and said I need to interview people that aren't white. If you're not willing to do an interview, then you can leave.
I can do
I'm doing it. All right then. Give me a minute and I'll come and interview you. Give me a second. Would you care to finish?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'm here to oppose US aggression against Venezuela. That's illegal under the UN Charter and international law. But Maduro was a tyrant. He stole the last election. He oppressed the Venezuelan people and oppressed their human rights. That does not ever justify what the United States has done. This is all about oil. Donald Trump made it clear before the next election that if oil corporations backed him, he would deliver. And now he's openly boasting that indeed he will hand over Venezuelan oil to US corporations. We have to resist this, and we want our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, to condemn this act of illegal aggression absolutely and unequivocally.
Sorry, thank you for letting me go first. I really appreciate that. Thank you for giving me your thoughts, and I'm sorry about that interruption. I do apologise.
No, it's not your fault. They've gone away.
Hope you guys have a safe and lovely rest of your night. Bye bye. Yeah, well, I have no idea where they've scampered off to now. Doesn't seem like they're feeling so vocal. They went that way. Let's go see. Excuse me. Hey, is that them? I don't have my glasses on. Genuinely can't tell. I have to get up like really close to see people. Can't see them. That's not them.
They've gone now.
Yeah, they've got. That's not them, is it? I don't have my glasses on. I have to get like go really up close here. It's a bit awkward.
Oh wait, no, that's not them.
No, that's not them.
Same scar.
Same scar.
They're randomly chasing women on the street.
Okay, well it seems that they've ran off.
Listen. You said go.
Okay, guys. So it seems that they weren't as eager to talk as they first presented themselves to be. We managed to get a couple more interviews. Oh, I'm so cold. Oh, I'm so cold. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna. I tell you what, guys. I'm absolutely freezing. I'm probably gonna wrap up. A lot of the protesters have now left. So there's a lot, like the protests kind of condensed into that area over there. The crowd is very much thinned out. It's all just kind of speakers now. Where everyone is kind of like grouped into is where all the speakers are. So but yeah, do let me know your thoughts. Obviously, I did want to interview that Mexican guy earlier, but I think he's gone as well. I can't see him. Yeah, I can't see him. That would have been interesting, but yeah, we've had some interesting takes, as I've said. I've had a couple of like mixed views on it myself. I think I swing more towards the pro side. I know, look at me shaking. I know, it's ridiculous. I'm sorry if the camera's shaking. But yeah, no, I think I lean more to the idea of like, listen, at the end of the day, the guy was a dictator. Any other dictator in any other time, in any other country would be. Oh, would you like to show you the sign? Yeah, okay. She like stopped and held up her sign, but then covered her face. That was confusing. I didn't know if she was trying to get off camera or trying to get on camera. I genuinely didn't know. Anyway, so yeah, I think, you know, a lot of Venezuelans saw him as a dictator, and he was not a good guy. So, I mean, let's just be honest about the fact that if we were maybe in the same situation, what would we want? I don't know what we'd want. I suppose it depends on who you'd imagine that the intervention would be from. If it was from the US in this country or another ally, then maybe, you know, people would be okay with it. However, if we had no choice as to who caused the intervention, then, you know, we might find ourselves in the same situation. So I do think it's interesting. This is an interesting one, and there are people on the left who are actually like against Maduro and against people here, like we saw a couple of minutes ago, and then there are also people on the right that agree with the fact that Maduro was a dictator, but disagree with the fact that Trump was allowed to do what he does because of the precedent it sets. So I think that I think this is going to go on for a while. This is going to be a really interesting debate, and I think it's going to be one of those topics that really you go on a journey with it. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys know what I mean? I think that we're going to be talking about this for a good while yet to come. So I'm going to stick with this story. I'm going to keep an eye on more protests that come out. I'm going to study up a lot more because obviously everything with the Christmas period, New Year's, I've got a lot going on behind the scenes. The Propaganda magazine is coming out later this month. We're also working on maybe another weekly show for you guys on the channel soon. So there's been a lot going on behind the scenes over the Christmas period and the New Year period. So I do need to study up a bit more, which I will be doing. And yeah, I'll be sure to follow this story for you guys and keep an eye on any protests that happen, come and cover them, come and live stream them. And yeah, but for now, I'm going to head off because I'm freezing. I'm going to go and get a hot chocolate. I don't even know if I'm going to drink it. I'm just going to hold it in my hands. I cannot feel my fingers. But yeah, so actually I'll do the outro here. Looks a bit better, doesn't it? Right, well, thank you all so much for watching. It's been our first live stream back in London in 2026. We're going to hit the ground running this year. 2026 is going to be an amazing year. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.